Let's get back in here on YouTube and Eyes Up Here Extra. We've got to get in here today to talk about some incredibly sad news, the passing of a hardcore icon. But before we do that, I got to welcome in the Queen of Extreme, Francine. Francine, I'm pretty much going to hand it over to you as we discuss the death of Sabu.
My God. What pains me about this is Saturday when we were in the car, and it was me, Hack, Sandman, and Todd, and we were just talking about people in general, and like I want to say maybe like people who did drugs in the locker room, and just how you tell you're on a really long car ride and you just bring up stuff out of the blue. And I said something like, I cannot believe that Sabu is still alive. And then the next day, I get a phone call from Todd. Or no, he texted me, Sabu died. And my heart just dropped. And I was like, what? And he's just like, yeah, he goes, it's not out to the public yet, but I wanted to let you know. And I just I felt so bad for saying that on Saturday, but just because I always thought of Sabu as like a cat with 9 lives, like not only for his the drug use, because it's out there, like people knew that he took stuff. It's not breaking news or anything. But watching him work and seeing all the crazy bumps he took and the death-defying leaps and just Sabu being Sabu, I cannot believe that he survived a lot of the stuff that he did and wasn't hurt more in however many years that he worked. But he first of all, he should have been a gazillionaire, and I don't think he had much money at all towards the end. And people can say what they want to say on how he spent his money. I will never bash Sabu. He was a dear friend of mine who I loved and admired, and I took it hard. It was Mother's Day, and we were having company over, and I was sitting at the island in my kitchen just sobbing an hour before our guests were supposed to come. And my husband walked upstairs because I guess he heard me crying, and he just came over and gave me a hug. And it's like it's going to happen, but you don't know when. And kind of should not have been such a shock to me, but I was taken aback. I was like, this can't be happening. I just saw him the last 2 weekends I was with him, and even after, and we have a clip to show, even after the Joey Janella spring break match, which was brutal. I didn't see the whole thing. I saw a little bit here and there. I saw him the next day at WrestleCon, and classic Sabu gives me a big hug, big kiss, and grabs me and whispers in my ear, they said I'm retiring. I never said I'm retiring. I'm not retiring. And I go, oh, are you going to pull a Terry Funk on us? And he goes, I don't know if they're trying to do ticket sales or what. He goes, but I'm not retiring. I'm going to keep wrestling. And I said, good for you. So, I mean, he looked tired. But he was there, and he was taking pictures and signing autographs, and he made his shot. But I just said, are you okay? And I'm okay. He didn't look okay to me. He just looked exhausted, and rightfully so. I mean, 12 hours before then, that crazy stuff was happening. But I mean, my heart was broken. It was broken, and I don't know what else to say. I loved him. I love him. I will always love him. I remember one time one time doing promos, and I was almost attacked by a homeless guy, and I was telling him the story, and he pulls out his box cutter, and he says, "You always need one of these," and he showed me how to cut somebody with a box cutter. He goes, "Never be without one," and I was just like, "Oh, okay." And he's like, "If you had this, that guy wouldn't have bothered you," and I was like, "Okay." But he was my friend, and if you know, to some people, he might have been standoffish. But again, if he was your friend, he would give you the shirt off his back. He was funny. He was witty and so talented. Like, he gave his life to professional wrestling. And no one can deny that about him. So I will miss him greatly. And I don't know. 60 years old is just too young. And it's somebody else, you know, from my ECW family that we lost. And I don't know exactly. I know he had a heart attack. I don't know what caused it. You know, people are speculating out there. I wasn't there. I don't know what caused it, you know, but I just feel that 60 is way too young. And I don't know what else to say. I'm just very, very sad. Very sad.
This hit the wrestling community in a big way. Like you said, on Mother's Day. Go back, if you can, to when you first met Sabu, when you first came into the business. Now, he had a huge, like, aura around him, and everybody knew who Sabu was before they knew who Sabu was. And you knew the pants, you know, you knew the scars across the stomach, you knew all that. But what was your first impression of Sabu when you got into professional wrestling and were backstage at ECW?
I mean, I only knew what I saw of him on TV. I got to know Sabu the more time that I was in that locker room. And in the beginning, he shook my hand. It was very polite. And then, you know, then it became like a little hug. And then it was a big hug. And then it was a hug and a kiss. And then it was my brother. You know what I mean? Just like anybody else, he warms up to you. And I don't know. Fans didn't see what we saw, because we saw a whole different side of Sabu. He was so funny. He was just so funny and had such a good sense of humor and was such a sweet soul, you know, and you know, some people might say he had a hard exterior, but they didn't know him. They didn't know him personally like we knew him. And I never expected him to die, but on the flip side, it was just like, I can't believe he's still here. And that just doesn't make any sense when you say it out loud. You know, it really doesn't. Now that I said it out loud, it makes no sense. It's like an oxymoron or something. Right. But it goes back to like him doing all this crazy stuff. And then you do add whatever he was doing on his own time, which scared me, because, you know, look back at all the guys who passed. 99% of them, well, not 99, but a lot of them had drug and substance abuse problems, alcoholism or whatever, you know what I mean? But a lot of them had to do that to deal with the pain. You know, you get hooked on these pills because you're in constant pain. Look at the bumps that this man took. I'm in awe that he can even walk.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, so I don't put my nose up at him for, you know, taking what he took or whatever. And I don't know what he took. I'm going by what I hear and what, you know, what people are saying. I really don't know. I mean, he's never come out to me lately, and like, you know, he always said he doesn't have a problem. He can handle it. And he was always at the shows. I've seen him at so many of these signings and functioning and taking pictures and stuff. So I thought he was okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But then, you know, you get the news like this, and it's just like, where did this come from? I just saw him. I saw him in Vegas, and then I saw him at the ECW arena. you know, and I didn't get to talk to him that much, but of course he ran over and gave me a hug and a kiss, and that's the last time I saw him.
Yeah, you know, and it was funny. I was thinking about this afterwards, you know, when Super Genie, Melissa Coates, passed away.
Right.
You know, she was a real essential part to him for many years. And I think many might have thought after she passed away, that would have been the
broken heart.
beginning. Yeah, the beginning of his downfall. But he actually did manage to find a way to go on and live for many years afterwards and make it to the shows and do like exactly what you're saying. And it's just a miraculous existence he had, and it is a remarkable way he did live. Just the things he did in the ring, and I mean, we've heard stories of what he did outside the ring, you know, over the years. But again, you saw what he was like on the inside and behind the curtain. I mean, you know, this is a guy, again, you said the hard exterior. I mean, that shows booking guys, all your friends, basically. He scared me. He's still walking by him. He gave you a look, and you're just like, I just don't even want to go by and say anything because I think he's going to bite your head off. But maybe I should have just gone and said hello, and maybe I would have been dead wrong. But
yeah, and you didn't know him. You didn't know him well enough to see that side, and
right.
And it, you know, you mentioned Melissa. When she died, I talked to him so often about her afterwards, and I was checking in on him to see if he was okay. And a lot of times I'd get, no, I'm not okay. And I was worried about him, you know, and I was like, Sabu, you know, please don't do anything you're going to regret. He loved her. He loved her. And it was just, he got through it, you know, like you said, bounced back and was working more, and just, I understand, but I don't understand. And again, that doesn't make any sense. I sat here on Sunday. I called Shane right away after Todd, and you know, Shane was just like, "Oh my God, oh my God." And he's like, you know, like I expected, but I didn't expect it today, kind of thing. And I was like, yeah, it was just, it's a lot. And just seeing, I'm glad I saw him recently and was able to give him that warm hug, and but it just doesn't make it any easier for us, you know. It's just, it's another member of our family gone, and it sucks.
Yeah.
So I'm just sad about it.
We'll end on a high, happy note in a few minutes, but I just want to bring this up because this is the elephant in the room. After all the tributes, after everybody was kind of coming through and saying all their, you know, well, great memories about Sabu, a story kind of started to circulate after an interview with Joey Janella about possible passing of some sort of substance in Sabu's, or prior to Sabu's last match at that GCW show, leading to people sharing the bumps that Sabu took in that last match with Joey Janella, and then pairing it with the quotes that went along with that interview, and kind of like making it seem really rough. Now, you said you saw Sabu the next day, and he was looking really tired. Well, apparently he needed, or this is all alleged from this interview, there was some sort of something that was passed to him to help him get to that match, because he kind of came in not feeling so great and looking ready to go into this, quote, last match, as he said he wasn't feeling it was his last match.
Can you run the clip of the bump for me?
Yeah, absolutely. Hold on one second.
And then, excuse me, we can get into real quick what was said.
All right, so here's the first one.
Okay. Oh, is this...
No. Off the chair. No! Into the barbed wire he goes.
Now, this is the one everybody's talking about right here. Okay? Just going to back it up one sec. This one right here.
Into it. Oh, no! Versus the floor.
Right,
Yeah,
back
he
up
hit his head
one more
hard.
time.
He goes into it. Oh
His
no!
head bounced off that concrete. That's
So your expert opinion, watching that bump, seeing him go, I mean, it looks to me like his body went limp as he was in midair, but what do you see when you see him going through those ropes?
You know, I mean, his legacy is already set in stone. He did not have to do this at 60 years old. Just my opinion. I know he loved the business so much and he wanted to keep working, but I mean, he could have just gotten away with just signing autographs at this point and trying to get his body healed up for the the golden years, so to speak, coming forward. You tell me, is there any reason why he needed to do something like this? And again, they were labeling it as his last match, and I told you what he whispered in my ear. It's not my last match. I'm going to keep working. This is my last. And I'm like, you're crazy. Why? Why do you have to do this? I mean, I know, okay, for the paycheck or whatever, but I mean, man, just double up on the bookings and save your body.
Yeah.
You know, not saying he couldn't go anymore, because I mean, obviously still doing stuff, but to me, I would have preferred him to just take bookings, just signing and being safe and just trying to, you know, recover from all the damage over the last 40 years that he put his body through. It's just, it makes me sad. It makes me sad. Again, it falls back on these wrestlers not having pensions or Social Security, or, you know, because a lot of them won't buy into it or whatever. No union. There's nothing to fall back on when these guys are older. So what do? They continue to work and do these crazy matches. And that's what he's known for. I understand that. But I don't know that I thought it just to me, it was unnecessary. You want to read it? Or
so here's the quote. It says, "We're an hour into the show, and I said, just get Sabu here," Janella continues. "So they gave him something called Kratom. You can buy it at a smoke shop or something. It's like a legal opiate or something," they said. "He's hopping on the bed. He's hopping off the bed, and we're going to get him to the show." So he shows up 2 hours into the show. Sabu was on a different fucking planet. Everyone in the backstage was like, what the fuck? Is this match going to happen? And my God, did it happen?
He's on a different planet, meaning drug-wise. Is that what they're talking about?
That would be my estimation. When you give somebody an opiate, they're on a different planet.
Well, there's more to that. There's more to that quote.
Well, that was the second part of the quote. The first part of the quote is how, what do you mean Sabu can't walk? They said, yeah, Sabu.
Here, I have it. I have it right here.
Okay.
I was fairly confident that he was fine. I was kept in contact with him, and he has a team of people around him, guys at the time. They were all saying he was ready to go, that he was going to the gym, that he was on a training program. I believed them until the day of the show. Then 2 hours before I get a call, Sabu can't walk. What do you mean Sabu can't walk? They said, yeah, Sabu's something with his knee. They're locked up. He can't walk, and his feet are bleeding. He's not coming. Sabu's not coming. I said, Sabu's fucked. So we talked to indie wrestler Matt Tremont, and Tremont is about to be the replacement for the match. And I feel like this is going to be the most embarrassing moment of my wrestling career. Here's 2,000 people. This is one of the biggest spring breaks ever, the biggest crowd, Mania weekend, indie-wise. And I'm going to have to go out there and announce that Sabu once again no-showed his own retirement match. And then your quote came second. And then it says he was definitely out cold. He was done. They were telling me there was no way. The refs were communicating to me that there's no way he's continuing this match. Like, holy shit. That is the one time you want the barbed wire to stop you. He just blew right through it. And then the Sandman came out, and that was all Sabu needed. The resurrection happened. Jesus resurrected 2 days later, the anniversary. I couldn't fucking believe it, dude. He was ready to go again. I guess that concussion knocked him back into 1996 or something. I don't know. Okay, so that was done in an interview. Meanwhile, everybody on the internet goes ape shit saying that GCW had no reason to put him in the ring like that, which, you know, we just said if his feet are bleeding and he can't walk, why would you make somebody wrestle? Right? You would pull them, correct?
Right. Oh, yeah.
Joey Janella, he's come and he wanted to clear the air about Sabu's usage of kratom in a lengthy post. He says, I'm truly devastated over this, and this whole deal has really affected me. Am I pronouncing it correctly? Kratom?
That's what I think it is. I mean, kratom.
Okay, it's something Sabu took daily for years, and it helped him get off other substances. Sabu loved his weed, and kratom, his body was wrecked doing what he loved for 40 years. He says he embellished a bit when he said the veteran was knocked out. I love Sabu. He was legitimately my idol growing up and my friend. I just wanted to give him and the fans one last great Sabu spectacle. A snowball effect happened on X. People were saying that Janella was responsible for Sabu's death. He comes and says Sabu was fine after the day after he signed at WrestleCon. He has been doing many appearances since. I don't know what the cause of death was, but all I can say is I wouldn't change a thing, and I'm happy he went out on top. So, well, I have a bit of a problem with that, because if the man cannot walk and his knees are messed up and his feet are bleeding, was he forced into doing this? That's something we'll never know.
No.
You know what I mean?
Who's his team? Who's Sabu's team?
All of a sudden, know.
The guys that book the appearance. I mean, who's the team?
I mean, there's a guy that was hanging out with him all the time. He was dressed like Ric Flair. That was his buddy. Yeah, he was with him several times. I don't know. I forget the guy's name. I don't know if he was with him that evening. I don't know. All I know is reading that one paragraph is disturbing, because like why would you force somebody to wrestle if they're not in the right state to do so, or if they're so messed up on drugs or a substance, or if they're bleeding, their feet are bleeding, their knees are so locked that they can't walk?
That's incredible. Yeah, that's I've never that's out there.
Like, why would Joey say that? And then why would you say that in an interview?
Yeah, that's really not helping your cause with giving that detail.
I don't understand it. I don't get. Look, I'm not putting blame on anyone. I'm just saying I don't get why you would force somebody to perform. I understand it's the biggest show of the weekend, and you want it to go well and stuff, but isn't somebody's health more important?
You'd think.
I don't know. Again, I wasn't there. You know, I don't believe I met Joey in person. I'm not sure. I never heard anything bad about the guy. And from what I heard, the match was incredible, but it makes me sad if he was forced to do something. And you know, Sabu wouldn't have done it if he didn't want to do it too. Again, he loves the business so much. You know what I mean? So I'm not saying he was held at gunpoint and, you have to wrestle tonight, but that is disturbing to hear, that his feet were bleeding, his knees were messed up. He's bouncing off the bed, bouncing on the bed. What does that mean?
Yeah, he was jumping. Did you know Sabu is somebody who would jump on a bed?
Well, if he can jump off and on a bed, then how is his feet bleeding and his legs locked up? It's contradicting each other. Like, I don't understand. I don't get the interview. I don't know. It makes me sad. This whole thing makes me very, very upset. And, you know, maybe that match had nothing to do with him dying. I guess we'll never know. But it sickens me, because I lost a friend and a brother, and I'm just devastated. And, he's in a better place and he's at peace and he's not in pain anymore. So there's that.
Like I said, I wanted to end it on a little bit of a lighter note. Do you have a favorite match against Sabu?
The one, I mean, you know, Shane wrestled him a bunch of times. And the one thing I remember, there was like, I want to say there was a tag. It was him. It was Sabu and Van Dam on one side. Maybe it was, I don't know if it was Shane and Tommy, because Beulah and I got to jump in the ring and do sleeper holds simultaneously on it was Sabu, and then I jumped on Sabu and put it on him, and then Rob came in and then Beulah put it on him. So it was like a 4-way sleeper, and we were all laughing when we
That's awesome.
Yeah, like
it was a house show.
It was a house show.
Okay.
Yeah, but Sabu goes, yeah, jump on me, it'll be great. I was like, okay. And it was just, I don't know. He just worked with them so many times, and he was just a nice guy. He was easy to get along with if you were in his inner circle. And I'm gonna miss him. I'm gonna miss him a lot.
They broke the mold when they made Sabu. So we will, if that's all you got, we will get out of here. We'll point one more time. We'll point up.
Oh, I get cut off on my green screen. Wait a minute. There we go. There we go.
We'll point up one more time.
I can't point up. I get disappeared. I'll do this.
We'll definitely. I'll go back and check the vault. I know we did a couple of watch-alongs to some matches with Shane and Sabu. So if I can find one, I will throw one up for the members.
Okay.
And if there's not one on there already, I will put one up because I know we do have one in the vault. So if that's all you got, we will get out of here for today. And for that Queen of Extreme, this is the Chadster. We will catch you on the flip side.
Hey there, it is the Queen of Extreme, Francine from ECW. Do you want to see more of me? Click over here to watch another video, or click over here to listen to my podcast. And as always,